Hey gang, short video here. Just want to touch base with you and give you an idea what's coming up this week. It seems like some of you aren't watching these videos, and that's just not cool. Uh, these this is an important video because it's kind of where I step back and just give you an indication of what's going on. Important things to point out in terms of the course. A couple things to think about here. We're going to have quite a few videos. I believe there's going to be 4 to 5 videos this week on what we call the central limit theorem. And we got into that a little bit last week, but we're going to get into this more in terms of proportions. Some of the harder questions, types of questions that we take a look at. And then I just want to kind of throw all these types of problems in the mix and just look at it in terms of a comprehensive, easy for you to say, comprehensive review. Okay, I think that's that's about all we'll do there. There might be an additional video using R to calculate probabilities. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to get that up or not. It's not something that we have to have in by the first exam, but it's something I definitely want to put up, and there will be an assignment on that. So, that's coming. More than likely, it's going to happen this week. Guys, most importantly, and I will put a big old important here. You got your midterm coming up. Midterm exam will be October the 14th. And if that's a surprise to you, then you haven't been paying attention because that was discussed. I'll tell you what, let me get my phone just make sure. Yeah, October 14th, next week. If that's a surprise to you, you haven't been paying attention because this was announced in the initial video when I went over the syllabus. Now, guys, what's going to happen here is the room number will probably be announced via email. So make sure you check your email from time to time. I had a couple students last summer who, let me get this, there we go, who couldn't find the room. Well, they hadn't read their email. They're like, well, why didn't you announce it? Well, I did. Why didn't you read your email? So, we don't want that. We don't want any confusion because it's, that's a stressful time enough. People trying to get to an exam, and last thing they want to do is be running around campus looking for an exam, getting all, the blood pressure up, the heart rate, and so on and so forth. What can you expect? The room's going to be announced again, but what I'm going to allow you to do is to drop in any time from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., and you can take the exam. Guys, this Math 1500 exam, I'd say, is going to take somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So just go ahead and be safe and allow 2 hours. Now, if you are an extremely slow test taker, and and you're very, very diligent, I mean, I always was, then maybe you want to allow 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours. That's completely up to you. But I tell you what, if you're a 2-hour test taker and you show up at 7 o'clock, you're turning this exam in at 8 p.m. You've got a 6-hour window to take your exam. And if you decide to wait till the last second, I mean, hell, I don't care. You can get there 7:59 if you want to, but you're going to have 1 minute to take your exam, and that's not right. So I'm making the window here extremely large, 6 hours. So if you need to take off work, take a couple hours vacation time, sick time, whatever you got to do. Other options for taking the exam are, you can go to a testing center. Long story short, the exam must be proctored. Testing centers are going to charge you anywhere from $25 to $100. I've noticed on the West Coast, around California, they're up around $100. Up around Columbus, they're $25. So let's say you're in a conference in St. Louis, and you're not going to be here on the October the 14th. Well, you'll need to arrange through a testing center so we can. And this is not something you're going to be able to do at 1:30 on October the 14th, because I will be busy giving exams. You're going to let me know. I have to know a couple, 3, 4 days ahead, so I can get the test to the test center and make arrangements for them to proctor. So guys, be proactive here. Something like that is happening. Accommodations. If you have any accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you need to let me know. So let me know about accommodations. And disabilities. I mean, let's put that in quotations. Um, there's nothing wrong with having a disability. Heck, I do. I was it's funny. God blessed me with mathematical abilities to a certain extent, but my reading comprehension level is not that great. I never could really understand it, and I have a mild form of dyslexia. It's nothing that's ever held me back, but I would have probably uh, been eligible for certain testing accommodations because of what's technically called a learning disability. So, got nothing to be ashamed of. If that's just the way you were made, then embrace it. So let me explain a little bit about the accommodations. Now, you may have given me your list of accommodations that tells me you need extra time, a quiet environment, things like that. I still don't know what you need because let me explain what that means. Um, I can give the exam to a student success center and they can proctor it. The bad thing about that is if you have a question about your calculator, if your calculator starts doing something wacky and starts rounding strangely, like some of you have encountered, I'm not going to be there to help you. First and foremost, it's going to be a quiet environment, so that's not an issue. You're going to have extra time. Again, you can't go past 8 p.m., but you can come at 2 and have 6 hours, so that's definitely extra time. It's a 2-hour test, so if some of you have an accommodation that says you get double the time, heck, I'm tripling your time, but you can't get there at 6 o'clock and expect to have that. And if there's something that happens that you can't get there until 6 o'clock, then we need to consider having the Student Success Center, uh, proctor your exam. But consider, if you do have an accommodation, I think it's advantageous to take the test with me. Because if you run into some problems with your calculator or even have a question about maybe a test question, I'm going to be there to help you. Whereas if you take it out, away from me, I'm not going to be able to help you. So, but guys, you know you better than I know you. Obviously, you got to do what you think is right for you. I remember I had a guy a couple years ago that he was going back and forth, and he decided that it would be better to take the test where I could be around and proctor it. Uh, and he only got a 10%. Actually, I think it was more like an 8%. Did horribly on the exam. And he blamed it on me talking him into not going into a quiet testing environment in testing. And I said, well, yeah, I didn't test you into it. I just gave you that option. So he was bound and determined on his final exam that he was going to take it in a quiet environment where he was not distracted and had extra time. And again, I gave him extra time and I gave him a quiet environment. Well, guys, on the final, he got an 8%. So uh, not necessarily the cause and effect model that people like to. Sometimes you just don't know what you're doing and you score poorly, and it's not a matter of lack of an accommodation. Trust me, I've been there. I've scored poorly on exams before, and I know sometimes it's been because I haven't studied. And sometimes it has been because there's been distractions in the classroom. So, guys, you gotta think those things through, and think, is that, which one of these do I need to do? Do I need to make sure the Darbrill's there if I need him, or do I have to ensure that I am in a quiet room with no distractions and stuff like that? So, guys, it's ultimately your choice. Okay, that's it. The end of this video. So, guys, have a great one. Got some challenging material this week. So, in conjunction with getting that behind us, and then doing a couple of midterms, midterm study guides early next week, which will be posted probably on Monday. So, that'll give you Tuesday to prepare for your midterms. So, guys, that's all I got. Take care.